The rain had just stopped, leaving the sidewalk slick and shimmering under the soft glow of the late afternoon. Marin stepped into the small lakeside café, juggling her damp umbrella in one hand and her 5-year-old son, Theo, in the other. Her blonde hair, tangled by the crisp autumn breeze, clung in damp strands around her cheeks. The chill lingered in the folds of her clothes, a constant reminder that winter was creeping closer. "Come on, sweetie," she whispered, guiding Theo along the floorboards that squeaked with every step. His small boots tapped softly against the wooden floor. Warm air greeted them with a comforting sense of roasted coffee beans and fried potatoes. The outdoor seating was soaked, leaving only a handful of indoor tables. Her heart sank when she saw the only free seat was half of a tiny 2-person table already occupied by a man in a charcoal coat. He was alone, flipping through a folder with a plate of golden fries untouched before him. Marin hesitated, then approached the counter. She ordered a small latte and a warm milk for Theo, counting the few coins she had left in her worn leather wallet. Among the bills and change rested a faded grocery discount card and a crumpled baby photo of Theo. The young barista leaned over and whispered, "You can ask the gentleman over there. He seems polite." Marin's chest tightened, but she nodded and walked over. "Excuse me," she said softly. "Would you mind if we sat here just for a few minutes?" The man looked up, his eyes sharp but unreadable. He studied her for a heartbeat, then glanced at Theo before nodding silently, gesturing toward the empty seat. "Thank you," Marin said, helping Theo into the chair. She handed him his milk and sat, sipping her coffee quietly, trying to hide her exhaustion. She removed Theo's damp raincoat, brushing the wet strands of hair from his forehead. Theo's gaze drifted to the plate of fries before the man, his longing silent but obvious. Marin hesitated, then leaned down. "Do you want me to ask?" she whispered. Theo shook his head shyly, cheeks pink. With a breath, Marin straightened and asked, "Can we share your fries, sir? I'll pay for them. I just didn't have enough for food today." The man paused mid-page. Then a small, almost shy smile appeared, and he slid the plate toward them. "They're better when shared anyway," he said. Theo's face lit up. He picked a fry carefully, savoring it. Marin smiled softly, her heart easing for the first time that day. Behind the counter, 2 baristas whispered, "Do you know who that is?" "That's Drake, the billionaire." Marin remained unaware. She only knew kindness when she saw it, and right now it was tangible. The trio ate together. Theo chattered about dinosaurs, puddles, and bedtime stories while Marin sipped her coffee. Drake laughed more than he had in weeks, a sound unfamiliar but unexpectedly comforting. When they finished, Marin offered to pay, but the server waved her off. Drake had quietly covered it. Later, Drake watched as Marin and Theo stepped out into the rain, the small boy tucked under his mother's care. Marin draped a plastic bag over Theo's head, improvised like a poncho, and wrapped her own scarf around him. Drake wanted to intervene, to help, but hesitated. She didn't need charity. She needed recognition and respect. When the bus arrived, Marin helped Theo aboard, and Drake quietly followed. From the back row, he watched Marin create magic with Theo, twisting her fingers into shadow puppets, whispering stories about rabbits hopping to the moon. Theo laughed, oblivious of the rain and cold, cradled safely in the warmth of his mother's love. A long-forgotten part of Drake stirred. Watching them, he realized that the world didn't always need saving. Sometimes it needed someone to notice, someone who wouldn't walk away. Days later, Drake discovered Marin's world extended far beyond chance encounters at a café. He learned where she worked, a modest, underfunded community library running a children's reading program. Inside, Marin sat at a tiny table surrounded by children, sketching whimsical scenes. A mother and child under a starry umbrella. Shadow puppets dancing across the ceiling, a crooked little house glowing in the night. Drake, standing quietly out of sight, felt an unfamiliar awe. Her sketches were not just art. They were her life, her heart, her perseverance made tangible. When she finally noticed him, she greeted him without fear or expectation. "I hope this isn't inappropriate," he said. "Curious about what?" she replied, calm, gentle. "Your drawings. Do you always draw your own life?" She looked down at her sketches. "Some of it. Yes, some of it is what I wish my life could look like. Her honesty struck him. No bitterness. No self-pity. Just truth. Could you publish these? He asked quietly. Marin shrugged with a small laugh. I tried once. Before life got in the way. Drake felt a pang of nostalgia for the boy he had once been, the one who stayed up all night coding and dreaming. Her world reminded him of wonder, of hope, of quiet power in small, intentional acts. A child ran across, showing her a finished book. Marin crouched, encouraging, warm, and patient. Drake watched silently, aware he had found something he hadn't known he was missing, a sense of grounding, of real connection, of human meaning. The sun had begun its slow descent behind the towers of glass and steel, casting long golden shadows across the park near Drake's office. He sat slumped on a weather bench, coat unbuttoned, tie loosened, hands clasped between his knees. Just hours ago, a grueling 5-hour meeting had ended in the collapse of a multi-million-dollar deal. Months of preparation gone in a single sentence. He didn't feel frustration nor anger, only an exhausting, heavy silence. A soft crunch of gravel drew his attention. Marin approached, carrying a tote of groceries, her coat buttoned all the way, hair damp and tousled by the wind. She didn't smile, at least not fully, but warmth radiated in her expression. Something beyond recognition of him as a CEO or billionaire. It was recognition of Drake, the human being beneath the title. I'm a mom, she said simply, easing herself down beside him. Her presence, quiet and steady, shifted something deep within him. For the first time that day, he laughed, a short, quiet sound, but real. Marin offered him a granola bar, cracked in half like it had been in her bag for days. Emergency snack, she said lightly. He took it, their fingers brushing for a moment, unspoken trust passing between them. Side by side, they ate in silence. No polite conversation, no probing questions. Only presence, grounding and real. Drake glanced at her from the corner of his eye. Her posture was calm, composed, unpretentious. She created warmth amidst this chaos, simply by existing. You're allowed to fall apart, she said, voice soft, words like balm. Even machines need maintenance. Drake looked up at her. No pity in her eyes, only truth. And in that moment, he realized that the smallest act of care could linger far longer than the grandest gestures. A week later, a thin folder awaited Marin on her doorstep. Inside was a proposal, a part-time creative consultant role on a children's storytelling app being developed by one of Drake's companies. The note clipped to the top read, "No strings, just an idea. You're already doing the work. This just makes it official." It was not a gift, not a rescue. It was opportunity, real, structured, and professional. Thoughtful weekly hours, a team of editors and illustrators, and a clear creative direction. After 2 days of quiet consideration and reflection over tea, Marin accepted. Her first day began with a key card and a tour of the design wing. Her desk, small but perfect, overlooked the courtyard. A sketch pad and pens were neatly placed, as though someone had anticipated her arrival down to the smallest detail. The nameplate read simply, Marin Caldwell, Creative Development. She touched it lightly, feeling disbelief, gratitude, and pride all at once. Work came naturally to her. Storylines, character sketches, UI drafts, her talent, long dormant, found a home. Occasionally, Drake appeared, not as a looming boss, but as a curious mind. He would quietly leave feedback on a layout or place a steaming cup of tea beside her, whispering, "Heard you didn't sleep much." Moms forget themselves too often. Those small, thoughtful moments lingered longer than expected. Days passed, rhythm settled. Marin thrived, contributing creatively, finally recognized not for surviving, but for thriving. Drake remained a quiet presence in this world, a witness rather than director. Sometimes close, sometimes distant, but always grounding, always deliberate. Life at home transformed as well. Their new apartment was modest, yet cozy. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a creaky hallway floorboard. For Marin and Theo, it was paradise. Sunlight streamed through wide windows, warming the hardwood floors. Theo's room smelled faintly of pancakes Marin had made that morning, and a small clearance sale plant sat on the balcony. Theo marveled at his new desk and backpack. "Is this mine?" he asked softly. "All yours," Marin replied, kneeling beside him. "And matching shoes." He wiggled his toes in delight. "They feel like running fast." "You'll need them," she said, smiling. Kindergarten serious business. The bond between them, Marin, Theo, and Drake, grew in small, deliberate ways. One afternoon, Drake delivered crayons, markers, and drawing paper for Theo. "For our top artist," he said. Theo, beaming, returned with a folded drawing. The cafe scene where Drake had shared his fries. 3 stick figures sat beneath a glowing lamp, a speech bubble above Drake's figure reading, "They're better, when shared anyway." Drake felt a tug in his chest. Theo's words followed. "Thank you for believing in my mom. I know she's a superhero, but sometimes superheroes need help too." Marin entered at that moment, witnessing the quiet reverence of the scene. Drake knelt beside Theo, resting a hand gently on the boy's shoulder. "You know," he said softly, "I think she might be the strongest superhero I've ever met." Silence fell, filled only by understanding, warmth, and quiet pride. Later, when Theo drew with his new markers, Marin reflected on how much had shifted in their lives, not by fortune, not by fame, but by compassion, observation, and human kindness. Drake lingered, holding Theo's drawing, feeling its weight more than he could have imagined. The Children's Tech Expo brought it all together. The venue buzzed with laughter and light, banners fluttering above colorful booths. Theo climbed the stage steps, carrying his markers. On the giant screen behind him, his drawings came alive. He pointed to a simple house. "That's my mom's house," he explained to Mike. "She makes up stories and pancakes shaped like stars." Next, a figure with wild yellow hair. "That's my mom, too." The audience chuckled, and Drake watched, standing beside Marin, quiet but fully present. Then came a man holding a plate. "That's Alan," Theo said. He shared his fries. "Then he helped my mom make a story app. He's my friend who wears serious shoes." The final drawing was a giant plate of fries. "My favorite part," Theo said proudly, "because that's where everything started." Drake smiled, not with charm or show, but honestly. He passed a plate of fries across the stage, silent acknowledgement of the moment that had changed everything. Marin reached for it with a soft laugh, sliding it across to him. "They still taste better when shared, don't they?" He nodded. That was enough. No words, no declarations, just shared history and shared hearts. Outside, the amber glow of the setting sun reflected across the lake. Through the cafe windows, one could see a woman, a boy, and a man finally at ease. They laughed, passed fries, and existed in a shared space that belonged to none and everyone at once. And sometimes, as Drake reflected quietly, all it really takes is a plate of fries to change a life.